Hello everyone, this is John from Vulgar Kitten Studios, and welcome to my new tutorial series in which I will be teaching you how to create a PHP MVC framework. Now, first of all, I do want to apologize for the mic quality. I don't have a mic anymore, so I'm going to be doing this with a laptop onboard microphone, and I know that sucks. I apologize, but I don't actually have a headset, so I can't really, there's nothing I can do about that. But anyway, uh, I'm also going to be doing this on Windows 10. I don't particularly like Windows 10 or any Windows for that matter, except for Windows 7. Windows 7 is my favorite operating system, but I would recommend Windows 7 over any other operating system that Windows has. But because I know that you guys are probably going to be on Windows 10, or the majority of my viewers are going to wind up being on Windows 10, I'm going to do it on Windows 10 just to avoid any sort of confusion. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll set up a development environment, and I'm going to open up Google Chrome, and I'm going to look for XAMPP. You can go on over to ApacheFriends.org and download this. It's a server. We need a Apache MySQL PHP server, so we'll go ahead and download this. And I'm going to get, I guess there's not a 64-bit version. Huh. All right. So we'll just go ahead and get a 32-bit version. It doesn't matter. 64-bit is backwards compatible with 32-bit, so we're good in that aspect. So we'll go ahead and download that. And looks like it might take a little bit of time, so I'm gonna pause the video until it's done. I'll be right back. All right, so now we got it downloaded. It just now finished. We can go ahead and start the installation process. And while this is going, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit about this MVC. Basically, we go over to github.com. If you go to my profile, which is, well, we'll go ahead and do this. If you go to my profile, which is the Almighty John Manning, you'll find a couple of different things that I put in my portfolio, which is supposed to be with this video tutorial series. It's actually going to come in two parts. I'm going to do both of these in this series because it's supposed to be an introduction to web development in general. So we'll make the sexy MVC and the BS active validator for the Bootstrap framework, and this is pretty much going to cover everything you need to know to get started in web development. So if you click on this repository, basically everything that has to do with the repository is in here. The documentation I've written out a wiki. If you go to a wiki, you can see exactly how it all works. If you're already a seasoned developer and you don't want to know any of this stuff because you already know it all, then and you still want to check out the MVC, go ahead and head over to GitHub and clone it, fork it, do whatever you want to do with it. But this is the documentation for it, and that's what we're going to be creating in this series. So let's see. User account control on your system. Yeah. Okay. Well, we really don't care about the user account control. We're going to go ahead and just install everything from XAMPP, and we'll install it all into its default directory. And we don't want to learn more about Bitnami products. That'll just open up a window in our browser that will take us to the Bitnami website. So we'll just go ahead and next install like any other Windows program out there. So while that's installing, we're actually going to get a couple of other things. Now, this is kind of like an old hack for me because I've done a couple of videos and doing this exact same kind of setup just on Windows 7 environments instead. But we're also going to want to get Sigwin because I actually like to I like doing development on Windows. I do like that just because everything works out of the box and that's nice. But I still like to mimic a Linux environment as much as possible, just because the servers and stuff that we'll be working with, uh, they're always lamp stacks. So I try to mimic that as close as I possibly can on Windows, and Sigwin is a great way to do that. We can just it's basically like a POSIX compliant command line interface that we can replace the command prompt with, and that's what I'm going to be using because this is actually going to be a very command line driven application. So we'll be doing a lot of work in the command line. And I'll go ahead and download the 64-bit version and save that. Shouldn't take too long. And we'll see where that's at. It's actually installing fairly quickly. Okay, and I'll go ahead and install this as well while we're waiting on XAMPP. So this is actually a little bit more complicated than a next install. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to go ahead and click next, and we want to install from the internet. Right here, this is where you need to make a choice. Basically, it's going to tell you that you shouldn't do this, but I've literally always used Sigwin in this way. I get rid of everything else and install it directly to the root of the hard drive. It's better that way, in my opinion, because like I said, I like to mimic a Linux environment, and by doing this, it actually sets up my hard drive structure with the same file structure that Linux actually has. So this is why I do this. You can do this, or you can leave it at the default. It doesn't matter to me. It won't really affect anything that we do in this tutorial series. Just make sure that you know what file path you're going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and click next, and let's see. We will actually, I don't want to save that in pictures. I want to keep all of my temporary files and everything that it downloads in my downloads folder. Let's see. So I'm going to just put that in downloads, and that's where we'll keep everything. So I'll go ahead and click next for direct connection, and we'll have to choose a mirror. There's one that I always use, which is http://mirrors.kernel.org. So we'll scroll through the list and try to find that. Shouldn't be that far up. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Here we go. All right, so this is the mirror that I always use. It's pretty reliable. I'm going to go ahead and click next, and it's going to initialize everything from that particular mirror. And basically the way this program works is that all of the programs that we use within Sigwin, we download from a mirror and install into our computer. So Sigwin itself is just an interface to access these programs, which run like programs in a Linux style environment. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get wget, and go ahead and click skip, so we can, you see that change it to the version of the package that you actually want to download. So we'll go ahead and do that, and looks like XAMPP is in the process of installing here. So we'll go ahead and add rules to the firewall for that. And so yeah, we get wget, and we'll want to get PHP. We're going to get everything that PHP has to offer. So I'm just going to expand this list so you can see, but I'm going to click default here, and that's going to change everything into the version that we want to install. So we're going to install PHP directly here so we can use it from the command line. So technically we're going to be running two different versions of PHP, but that is okay. And actually I'm not done. So let's see. We do want to do that. I'm sorry about that. So we get these. I'm actually going to want bind as well, probably just for my own purposes, or we may need to do some DNS troubleshooting at a later point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that, and I'm going to do MySQL. So, well, actually I think that's already installed, maybe. Well, we'll go ahead and just get MySQL and MySQLD. And I'm going to go ahead and install it like this. So we'll go ahead and click next. And if you ever need any other programs for Sigwin, then basically you just run the installer again, which it looks like I saved mine in my pictures, but I'm going to be putting that in downloads. See if I can go ahead and do that. It might not allow me to. Yeah, it's not going to allow me to until after it's already installed. But yeah, I'm going to keep this in my downloads folder. And anytime that I need another Sigwin program, I can just run the install again and go through the same process and install the packages that I need. And there are scripts out there that allow you to do that through the command line too, but we won't get into that. That's kind of outside the scope of this tutorial series. One more thing that I do want to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab Autohotkey, which is just it's a macro system for Windows. It allows you to, let's see, I hope this is the right website. This is autohotkey.com. Yes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and download AutoHotkey. And this allows you to write macros that extend the usability or the interface that Windows already provides. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bind some programs to some shortcut keys and stuff like that. And if I have any text that I write over and over again, I can set up like auto strings so I can like auto fire that. And AutoHotkey is really useful for creating macros like that. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, and we'll wait for that to finish there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and install it. And it looks like XAMPP is finished now, so we'll go ahead and open up the control panel. And yes, I want to go ahead with all of this stuff. And I'm not sure if it's going to let me, I don't think it's going to let me install these as services at this point in time. I'm actually just going to go ahead and install AutoHotkey because this does not take long at all. It's very, very quick install. And so there we go, it's actually done. So anyway, it's not going to let me do this until you restart your computer. Once you restart your computer, then you can install these as services. But the services that we do want to use is Apache and MySQL. So we'll need to add firewall rules for those. And let's see. Apache is not wanting to start. Let's see. And let me actually go ahead and close out of the program. Let me go to XAMPP. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to restart my computer before I'm able to start that. I've never actually set it up on Windows 10, so this should be interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'll be right back. Now, I've done a quick search just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. So I found this article on Stack Overflow, so we're going to go ahead and try this. I'm going to type in services.msc, and we are going to see if the World Wide Web Publishing Service is blocking Apache. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and hopefully find the World Wide Web Publishing Service. So let's see. Well, maybe not. It's World Wide Web Publishing Service. I can't control F anything in there. Huh? Okay, so we don't have that. Alright, it shouldn't be an issue. I might have to change the port that Apache works off of. If that's the case, that'll be interesting. But we'll just go ahead and see if a computer restart will fix that. In any case, while we're waiting on Sigma to finish installing, we could go ahead and discuss AutoHotkey. So let's see. Yes, AutoHotkey, the desktop app. I have multiple versions of XAMPP open. So with this help file, this is actually like this is the documentation for AutoHotkey. AutoHotkey is a scripting language. It's a macro scripting language, so you can actually use this help file to learn what everything is. That's basically what I've done. So I'm going to be using the Alt and Control references here to do a run command on Sigwin to make that open up or to fire off the shortcut for it. So once it's finished installing, then we'll go ahead and write script. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and be right back when it's done. All right, so we got Sigwin finished. So let's go ahead and click finish. And so that'll give us a couple things. First of all, let's go ahead and type in Sigwin in here. Okay, so I guess it doesn't actually add a app. Let's see. It doesn't add an app icon here. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to store our shortcut to the Sigwin terminal somewhere that we'll know where it is. So probably what we should do is put it in the folder with the program itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this PC and into the hard drive, and well, we can put it in our home folder, but then again, let's see. You know what, let's just put it in the root. We'll just put it in the root. So we'll go ahead and allow that. And so that's where our shortcut is. This is what actually opens up this Sigwin terminal. So we're gonna, when we open this up, we are going to see something that looks pretty cool. If you right click up here, you can actually change some of these options. So I'm gonna actually give it a medium transparency, and I'm gonna change the text. I'm gonna give it something with a little bit more size on the font. I don't know if I want 14. 14 is a little big. I might change that down to 12. Yeah. Alright, and for the mouse, I want to make sure that I right click to paste, and I want to copy on select, so we'll go ahead and apply all of that and save. And so now this is our Sigwin terminal. So what I want to be able to do is I want to fire this whenever I hit Control-Alt-P. And so what I'll do in order to achieve that is I'll hold the start key and hit the R key, so we can get the run and type shell :startup, and that will open up our startup folder. So within here, I can right click and create a new AutoHotkey script, which should give me an Explore context menu here. So I'm going to create a new AutoHotkey script, and I'm just going to call it AHK. And this I'm going to open up with Sublime Text, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm just going to say Control-Alt-T, and in that with 2 colons, put it inside of curly braces. Let me scroll in a little bit so you can see what this looks like. And use the run command, and then within double quotes, I want to run the C: Sigwin terminal shortcut. And I believe it's Sigwin terminal 64, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Or Sigwin 64 terminal. I'm just going to copy that and put it in here. So, copy and put it in there, and then go ahead and save that. And so now we can actually run this, and it should pop up in our system tray here. And actually, let me go ahead and exit out of that, because there's one more thing I want to do. In order to, if you wanted to have multiple programs do this, what you actually need to do is you need to return right here, and that will work that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and fire it off again, and Control-Alt-T, and it opens it up exactly how it's supposed to do. Alright, so now that we have that, it will actually run every time we restart our computer. And so since we're already in Sublime Text, we should configure this a little bit. You can use whatever text editor you want to. I recommend Sublime Text, but it is paid. So you can download it and use it for free, but you're going to get these annoying messages telling you that you haven't paid for it until you actually pay for it. But like I said, it's a great program, and I do actually recommend it. So if you want to buy it, go ahead and do so. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go to the view and show all of my open files. I'm going to expand this a little bit, actually. And so that way we got a sidebar right here. This is actually like a file explorer, and it's really useful for web development. So I'm going to go ahead and close this now. And so the next thing that we need to do is we actually need to get a couple extensions for Sublime Text. So I'm going to go over to Google, and hopefully it will Google for me, because it's taking its time. I'm not sure why. Because I do have internet. I'm going to restart Google Chrome. And this is exactly why I hate Windows 10, because of its tendency to crash constantly. Okay. Alright, just had to restart services there for a second. So what we want to Google is going to be package control. So package control, and it should be the first thing that pops up. This is basically a system for Sublime Text that allows us to install extensions directly from Sublime Text itself. So I'm going to hit Control Backtick. Backtick is the same key that tilde is on, so that should be like right above your tab key. And I'm just going to paste that in here, and it should install package control directly. Let's see, one dependency was just installed. Okay, so it's just telling me to restart Sublime Text in order to use package control. So I'll do that, and I'll go ahead and open it back up. And so now I can hit Control Shift P and type package control, and let's see, package control, and I actually want to install a package. So I'm going to use the install package, and I'm going to install Emmet. And Emmet is really useful. It's a very good way to speed up front-end development. So it basically allows you to type out HTML a lot faster. So I'm going to go ahead and install that and do the same thing. And I'm going to install the Blade syntax highlighter because we will be using the Laravel Blade templating engine. Actually, we'll be borrowing a couple of components from Laravel, but the Blade templating engine is one of my favorites. So we're going to want syntax highlighting for that. And if you really want to, you can get syntax highlighting for AutoHotkey as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get syntax highlighting for AutoHotkey. And so just to show that that works, I'm going to open this up with Sublime Text. And so now we actually have it syntax highlighted. And so now that we actually have something syntax highlighted, I want to change the scheme for it too. So I'm going to go to Preferences and Color Scheme, change it to Twilight. Twilight is my favorite. You can use whatever settings that you want to in here. But that's pretty much all that we'll need for the time being. If we need anything else, then we can just add it as we go. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this portion of the video and be right back when once I restart my computer and try to get Apache working. So I'll see you then. Okay, I'm back. Restarted my computer, and the Apache service started just fine. The only problem that I see so far is with the Windows 10 installation is it doesn't allow you to install Apache and MySQL as services. So every time you restart your computer, you will need to actually start these manually, unless I'm missing something here. So let me check the services button, and no, okay. So this just actually brings up the services .msc plugin or snapin, whatever it's called, I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, so that's it for the development environment setup. We actually have everything that we need at this point, it looks like. So we can go ahead and go to localhost, and we should get the welcome page, and we do. All right, so this looks good, and we can go to PHP My Admin, and everything is looking good. So let's go ahead and make sure that everything is in the correct place. I'm not sure, I don't think that I actually installed Nano, so let me go ahead and move my installation, or not installation, I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and move my Segwin file back into downloads where I want it. And I'll actually get rid of this right here. We don't need the installer anymore, so I'll go back into downloads and I'll double click this and just go through the entire process. It should save everything, so yes, and it's kind of slow, but we'll go get Nano, which is just a text editor that we can use from within the command line. It's very useful. So we'll just install that real quick. It shouldn't take too long at all. Keyword being shouldn't. So I'll pause the video until it's done. Okay, completed. And now I will go ahead and we don't need to, well, I'll do that, but it is what it is. All right, so now that we have that, let's see. See if that actually worked. And again, Segwin. Okay, there we go. If I right click on this and open file location, I can actually get the location of this, and I will use that instead of my other shortcuts. So I'll go ahead and open up the startup folder, and I'll edit this and just paste in the file path here and save that. Make sure that it still works by reloading the script. So we'll reload that script and it still works. So now I can actually get rid of the other unwanted shortcut in the root. So I can go in here and go ahead and delete that shortcut. And so that way we're using the start menu shortcut instead of that shortcut. So that means that there's one right here, and I just don't like to have so many shortcuts on my desktop, so I'm going to get rid of those. All right, and now what we need to do is just do a little bit of configuration for our virtual host. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to nano and go into Windows, System, 32 drivers, etc hosts, and that is still the location of the host file. So I'm going to make an alias for 127.0.0.1 and just call that sexy, and Control X, Y, enter. Okay, so I can't actually do that yet. I need to get permission from in order to do that. So I'll go into this PC, go into the hard drive, and go to Windows. Let's see, System 32, drivers, etc, and I'm going to Properties, and go into Security, and we will edit this and allow full control, and Control X, Y, enter. I still don't have permission, so let's go ahead and add. And I'm going to Advanced, Find Now, and I will find myself. Let's see, or users, or John Manning. There we go. And click OK, and allow full control, and apply that to the permissions. I should be able to save it. There we go. All right, so now we've made an alias, and now we need to make a virtual host as well. So I will nano our XAMPP, Apache. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use Nano for that because we should just use it in Sublime Text. It's a little bit better that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file and open file, and we are going to go into the hard drive, find our XAMPP, Apache, conf, extra, and our vhost.conf in here, and we also want to open up our httpd.conf and just make sure that that is actually enabled. So we'll go back into conf and get the httpd.conf and come down here, check the include modules, and our Control F to search for vhosts, and that is included, so we don't have to uncomment that. It's already included for us. So I'm going to make a virtual host, and I'm going to give this server admin of myself and a server name of sexy, which is going to be, this stands for small extendable code collection, and we'll need to give it the document root too, so we'll give it the document root, and that is going to be c:/, but we're actually going to put it somewhere else. I'm going to put it in my home development www folder, and I'm going to give it the sexy folder, and I'm actually going to make that public because I want everything that exists in the document root, or everything visible publicly, to exist one level lower than what our actual application files will be for security purposes. So we'll also need to give some document rules, but we'll get to that at a later point in time. Go ahead and save this, and we might want to actually do one for our local host, but I'm not going to do that right off the bat. Well, I don't know, I might. Let's see. And for local host, I'm just going to point that to XAMPP HT docs, like that, and that should actually circumvent any errors that we would see from XAMPP itself interfering with our own virtual hosts. And so since we have that now, we actually need to restart Apache. So I'm going to just use the shortcut here and stop, and then start it. And hopefully, well, it doesn't want to start. And that could be due to a syntax error, although I don't know why it would have one. I'll open up the control panel, put out the other one, and start, and see what the error is. Okay. But if I remove these, then I should be fine, right? Yes. Okay, so I have a problem here. Virtual host. That is because I didn't actually specify the ports in the host container, so I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll stop it, and start it again. And there we go. All right, so now that we have that, we should be able to go to http://sexy. And it's going to tell us access is forbidden, and that is fine. It's still pointed back to our domain. So the last thing that I'll do before I end the video is just go in here and let's see if I can. Okay, so apparently Windows 10 libraries work a little bit differently, which that's fine. I'm just going to go into my home folder and I'm going to create a new folder, call it development. And go in here. What is this? New folder. Okay. And call this www and call it sexy and call that public. Put that right there. And within here, I want to create a new, well, I'll open this in Sublime Text. I'm going to use the project tab and add a folder to the project, and I'm going to go into that particular folder. So I'm going to go to home, development, www, and I'm just going to put the whole www folder in here. And so now I'll be able to use this like a file explorer and make like index.php and echo hello. Okay, we still have access forbidden, and that's just because of the rules. So let's go ahead and check that out. So what we're going to do is actually go into our virtual host, and we'll set up the rules from within here. And what we need to do is actually, well, first of all, let's go ahead and give it an error log location as well. So let's say the error log is going to be in logs, and just this in the sexy error.log, and I'm just going to put that. I'm actually going to put that in c:/home development www logs, like that. And we'll also do the same thing for access logs. Let's do custom log, and this is going to be about the same thing. And now we can set up our directory rules. So we'll start a new container for directory, and we'll have to actually point to our document root. So we'll say for home development www sexy public, and we'll close this off. And here we'll need to set it up the new way, require all granted, and allow override all. And this is what I mean by whether you purchase it or not. And so we'll go ahead and do that. And now we'll need to actually restart Apache again. So I'll go ahead and stop it and start it. Just make sure that it actually started. Which it doesn't look like it did. Let's get rid of the logs. Get rid of the logs and see if it'll do it. Yes. Okay. And so now that we have that, we shouldn't have this access forbidden anymore. And we don't. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. This has been quite a long video, so I do apologize about that. It's been kind of my first experience with Windows 10 too, so it's been kind of a trip here. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video when we actually start coding this thing. See you next time.